Welcome everyone to the Break Knyte podcast, where we talk about being creative on things that aspires to be creative. I am the Rumbler from the Bronx, the extreme assassin, Craven, Knight, maker of things, an overachiever in the making world. And with me, as per usual, is a guy sitting right in front of me, and in between us is this beautiful Death Star or Imperial droid looking thing, because I got a new microphone for us.
Yeah, this thing's weird.
Yeah. It looks like it's ready to kill us. It has a red dot on the other side.
Don't show me. Weird.
Tell these people who you are.
I am artist extraordinaire, creator extraordinaire, homeboy extraordinaire, cook extraordinaire, cat caretaker extraordinaire, extraordinaire, Shawn the Man Slade / Iredale. I think I'm going to go by my gimmick name on this show from now on as Shawn Slade, because, I mean...
Why not?
Why not? It's not like...
Why be real? Real is dull.
Real is real stupid. That at least that's what I like to say. Yeah. Just to get you guys a heads up on my day, I was part of a fair wage protest here in the Twin Cities, and it got kind of wild. So that was a thing. First time I've ever done protest in my life. That was kind of wild. Aside from putting spikes back on jackets in high school, but you can tell what kind of kid I was back then. But I thought I'd share that little snippet with all of you guys. But aside from that, we're going to do our U's, where we talk about things that go along in the creative aspect of our lives, as well as the entertainment part of our lives, as well as a wrestling wrap-up, and perhaps a little toy action sprinkled in there. You know me, we're hot on the heels of cool things coming our way. Not a ton on the unveils just yet, because we got Comic-Con coming up, E3. We got a lot of entertainment stuff popping off here. So we're just gonna go and tells it like we've seens it. So like usual, I like to start off with the creative side of things. I'll give you my little insight to what I've been up to. You may remember that I've started some different painting and like grayscale techniques that I'm working on, and I'm just trying to get this Venom pinup done, and I got an idea for the next pinup illustration / image that I'm gonna do, but I'll let that be a surprise when it comes out. Also, I plan on releasing more images of my Soul Calibur concept sketches that I did for characters, because I always loved the design of Soul Calibur. I always loved the game, and after 5 it was on such a wild hiatus that I decided to start designing characters that I loved, or just characters in general, just because it's fun to design things. You guys know that about me. So I'll be releasing that here in the next couple days, but enough about me. What about the Craven Knight? What you got going with your Overwatch shirt?
Yeah, my Craven Knight Overwatch mock-up shirt. Nothing much. No, I've been doing a few things. I've been trying to maintain the consistency with the videos on my YouTube channel, Break Knyte Creative on YouTube, so check that out. I released a video on Friday of me just kind of making a cape for my Batman figure.
Jealous?
Yeah. It's just been awesome. Sitting there. Didn't take too long to do. I just kind of found the figure, remembered that I wanted to put a cape on it and put a new cape on it. So it was just sitting there, as you see in the beginning of the video, if you haven't watched it already.
If you wanted, then you should have put a cape on it. If you wanted, then you should have put a cape on it.
And it's like, I'm going to put capes on everything. I don't care
if
they don't
yo, I'm saying, bro, I still got so many.
I just imagine, because like I've wanted to make a custom Batman Beyond kind of robotic looking figure, since I have those G.I. Joe Sigma figures kind of laying around. I still have an intention to do that someday. It's just one of those buried in a closet type of ideas, but I think it would be cool to kind of do, Batman's kind of Spidey like cape, where it's hidden in the armpits or in the lats.
I always loved the pit capes. That was the flying squirrels.
Yeah, and how it just kind of collapses on itself, and just like doing that with fabric and wire is like it would be kind of a cool idea and all that. So I'm interested in doing that someday. But be able to have my Batman kind of sitting up there, and I love putting him in the pose, especially when the cape drapes the way it does and it's contoured the way it is with the way I stitched it. It just looks cool putting on a wire, displayed on my shelf. And it looks like like it's kind of like the scene for Batman Begins where he's coming down the stairs and all the bats are around him. Like I love putting him in that pose and stuff. So there's that Batman, and then there's the FH Figuarts Dark Knight one that I have that have like those really cool capes. But I'm interested in trying to do some more cape stuff, maybe do some more wire cape stuff eventually. And funny enough, because you have the Deathstroke Slade Wilson with you have the the
twist ties?
The twist tie back there, and I have twist ties laying on my, like, every week I remember at least one thing because you asked me to do it, and I'm just like, it just sits in the back of my mind, and then I remember, and it's like, okay, I got to get a couple of good ones. I have to make sure they look a certain way, and then I want to paint one of them or get and do it.
I have a black one,
so
I should be good on one of the sides.
Like I have them. I have a white one that I want to paint orange, so at least it matches that perfectly, or at least like I can like dark blue or whatever.
I can send you that helmet. And I could put his unmasked head, and then you can just color match with the helmet if you want.
Because I know I have the orange. I still have the orange laying around from the helmet that I made you. But if the other one is just black, then that's all that matters. And it'll be a quick spray. It's just a matter of just remembering to do it.
Yep.
But that little customization. So I think some more toy custom. Usually around the summer is when toy customization kind of really is kind of ends up being my thing, along with trying to do some woodworking. But I've been feeling really lazy with the woodworking stuff.
I mean, you're not really lazy if you got a bunch of other shit you're doing.
It's not even that I have a bunch of other things I'd rather do. It's just like I kind of want to do woodworking, but it's like I don't. It's like all the steps that I have to make to do a project is all the stuff I don't really feel like doing. Like, I want to be able to make this. I want the stuff to be there. I don't want to make the effort to get the stuff because I don't want to. I don't feel like driving to Home Depot, going down to the aisle, making sure the wood is straight, and buying all the wood.
You still need a secretary, man.
Yeah, I know. Get somebody to get all that shit for me. But anyway, so I had that video coming up. I also did record a video before that, but I have it to be released on Friday. So I'm going to try and maintain a weekly schedule and record what I can. And just watch me work videos, very little talking to the camera. If I feel like I need to explain something, I'll probably do it in very short bursts. But unless fans say otherwise, I'm just going to stick to that because it's not a source of income. It's just something I do for fun, and I know there's people out there that like to watch it.
Why not? Just set it up.
So I have a knee pad video from start. I know the first video I did had me just replacing the padding, which is a very similar process to kind of just doing it from scratch. But this one, you actually see me using my patterns and doing it from scratch. It's not a tutorial, but if you pay close attention, it could be a tutorial depending on your mind going in. But I know some people are actually kind of learning some stuff and using them to their advantage to try and make their own stuff. So it's pretty cool. Even people asking me about, because sometimes I'll go to the Break Knyte props page to see like what people are saying. If people are saying things, sometimes I'll get recent comments about like, you have to do a tutorial on the Vegeta foam hair piece.
I need to make this foam hair for my mother.
Yeah. So then someone actually inquired about like doing some foam Vegeta hair form and stuff, but in blue, and I was like, I haven't gotten asked about that, so I'm not even sure what I'd charge. But we'll say this and we'll see and all that. So when it comes to that, I'm not sure if I'm undercutting myself or not. Just seeing what sounds fair to me, but we'll see. But so yeah, the cape, the YouTube videos, the knee pads. What else? I think this other topic for me, because like I wasn't sure what your situation was, whether you were getting arrested or not today, so I just started working. Because I was kind of sitting home today. I was like, it's one of those that you know how it's like when it's rainy all day and it's kind of like blah. You don't feel like doing anything.
It's night times, night times.
That's how like a lot of my Mondays have felt like, and usually my Sundays feel like that too. So yesterday felt like that pretty much until I'm forced to go places. But no, I just felt like not doing any. I have really no ambition to do anything. I was like, I know we're podcasting today. I'll just let that be the only thing.
You're allowed those days.
Yeah, and yeah, I was like kind of sitting, pretty much just waiting to come over, and then you're like, oh yeah, we're probably getting arrested. And I'm like, oh okay, I guess I'll go to work. And I just started. And I was like, I remember accidentally cutting an extra pieces for long tights. Funny enough, it was a pattern that fits my size.
Nice.
So I was like, and I've been contemplating, how I said before, I've been contemplating shifting to just long tights. And So I was like, screw it. I'm just gonna do some long tights for myself since I had that cut. So I did the long. I already had the tights cut, but I was trying to figure out what I'm going to put on it and make it be very subtle, kind of similar to kind of Seth Rollins stuff, where it's kind of like just a subtle, cool look. They just happen to have some pleather worked into there. So I wanted to make it look like some like leather pants in a way. But it's going to be spandex, so that's what I had cut. So, but I had some hunter green like pleather that I had laying around, so I had that kind of striped at an angle on my on the side. I'm gonna throw some of my logos on the side, so I'll probably do a CK on one and the lion logo on the other, and then just kind of alternate between the gear. I did order some black pleather, stretch pleather for me to use to make it. Kind of want to do the belt loops and have different color,
Oh wow, you went the whole
belt.
nine with the belt loops and the.
Yeah, I keep getting asked to do belt loops, and I was like, I think the belt loops would be a nice little way to add some type of contrast, where it's like I can just make it look like I'm wearing leather pants and then still have everything else, because like I look good and tight. Like Ryan Cruz told me like, don't wear tights. Like you have good legs. Like you show your legs. Like yeah, but my legs still look good in tights. Like you still see the shape of them.
That's true.
So it's like, and I don't want to shave.
You've been wrestling so goddamn long. Who the fuck cares?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You know what I mean?
I'm getting annoyed with like
spice yourself up for fuck's sake.
So it's like why not? Like I'm getting tired of trying to do the elastic on the leg holes and trying to figure out like whether these tights are gonna ride up or not, and feel like when somebody grabs me a certain way for like a suplex, they're gonna pull my tights and my trunks, and as soon as like Chainsaw King grabbed me for a stalling suplex, the first thing that came to mind was your comment that you said you hope my tights rip in the middle of a match.
That's right,
and I was like, it's gonna fucking happen. It's gonna happen. And
right, you better start wearing a 2-pair.
Yeah, so it didn't happen, but like that did go through my head. So I am going to be shifting to long tights from here on out. So it's a matter of what to do with my other gear that's just gonna sit, because I just have an ottoman that I just throw all my gear in.
I'm telling you, dude, you gotta do it Golden Age DC style. Just put those over some long tights that are a different color that contrast well. Fuck it, just look like it. I always kind of like that look, dude, on a lot of on a lot of different wrestlers. Like I always like the trunks over tights thing for Bret Hart. I always thought that was cool. I liked Eric Young's. I thought that was cool. Like when they're two-tone, I think they look pretty cool too, depending on the color scheme. Yeah. So I kind of like that idea.
Like the thought has always been to do like gray tights with a black or dark blue trunks with a yellow belt. Yeah. For obvious reasons. Yeah. But cause I thought it'd be cool to just make, and I always loved the idea of doing a Batman Beyond-esque one. Like what comes to mind is like black tights with kind of like the red inside that you tend to see on the inside when his suit ends up getting broken apart, but with the silver belt that's there with the circle in the middle, like that kind of always comes to mind. So that'll be really cool.
Yeah. So you'll have more ideas to execute. That's a pretty good idea.
Because it's like I don't want to focus too much on putting designs on them as much as just putting little subtle things. I'm all about the subtlety, and I think just even if it's just plain pleather tights with belt loops and I have a different colored belt, or if I throw something small on the side like my CK or the Lion or Knight or whatever the case, it's like not really go too crazy, because I'm not like Japanese style gear. That's like that gives me a headache. Like when you see those Japanese wrestlers with all that like Okada's.
Yeah, just anything like, Okada wears.
Yeah. Because like when you see, because I looked at his gear in, at least like when he was down, and I saw, because like as a seamster I have to look at wrestlers' crotches all the time. I looked at the seam, and he has one seam that goes down the middle, the side of the leg up and Ewing. So instead of it being kind of like a X, which typically what tights are, it's just that one line. So that means because of the way these are made, it's I think the seam is on the side of the tights. So it's on their side and on the inside, instead of just being like the middle of the crotch and meeting at the taint and then going down the middle, the inseam of the leg and all that. So it's is different, and because the way it's designed, it kind of has to be made that way. So it really all depends. But going that drastic with gear is like something I hope I never have to do. But I did get a commission for a crazy kind of gold dust-esque jacket. It's a very expensive one. It's a very big project. But luckily the way my commissions work is like I don't really worry about it until 2 weeks after I get the money for it. So it's all good. But as far as creative side for me, that's about it. I think
Nice.
we can start going into the entertainment portion. We talk about the stuff that inspires us. What's inspiring you, Shawn?
Well, I mean, inspiration's loose. I get my inspiration from really good toys and really good illustrators. So essentially, Instagram and any gifts I buy.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, I did recently watch that Solo movie. I know last time we talked about how you watched it, and I am going to say that I think this Solo movie is better than The Last Jedi. That's kind of a big deal the more I think about it. I had way more fun watching the Solo movie than I did The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Did it have... And the funny part about Solo is interesting. How I liked the first and second acts a lot, but the third act suffered because it was, betrayal, swerve, betrayal, unveil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that they just tried to fit too many things in the third act to where it just kind of became a little too much.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert! Darth Maul shows up as the unveil in that hologram shot.
Yeah.
And I just could not get over how funny it was. That, like, he looks awesome. I think he looks dope. But I couldn't get over how funny it was that they did not trust the audience to know who it was.
Yeah.
Holograms are never in color in Star Wars, but this one was.
Yeah.
They were like, okay, you need to... And then, after he was done talking...
Because, in the Star Wars universe, everything kind of de-ages instead of evolves.
Yeah. It's weird. But, it's just something they've kept to. Even in The Last Jedi, when, the projection of Snoke.
Yeah.
You never knew what that was.
Yeah.
But with Darth Maul, hologram shows up, motherfucker's color, clear as day, takes off the thing, and you're like, oh, that's clearly Darth Maul. But they're just like, no, now make him stand up and here his metal legs. Okay, cool. All right, awesome. So we know he has cybernetic legs. And then he's like, give me my lightsaber. And then the lightsaber shows up. And then he turns it on.
He just has it in his hand. And he just
he sticks his hand off and then it comes to it.
I thought he just kind of lifted it out from under his armpit or something.
Because when he was like, I think you and I will be having, a much closer time. And his arm was off screen and then you heard it. And then he got it. And then he had to turn it on. Yeah. And it's like, woo,
that's the thing people keep saying. It's like, okay, we know, if you're a creator of any sort, you know why. You know why he did it. Actually, it's not even him doing it. You know why you know why they decided to let him do that, to make him do that. Yeah. It's not so much why he did it, because,
it's just,
it doesn't make sense.
I couldn't stop laughing, just in case you didn't know it was me. Yeah. Take off. Woo wee. See me? I'm red. Yeah. See, I'm red. I'm the only hologram.
But that's the
color.
thing. That when you make a joke about it, that's exactly that's the answer. Yeah. That's the literal answer. Is in case people didn't know that this guy was a Sith with a lightsaber.
You piece of shit. You remember me? Huh? Huh? You remember me? See? This had two sides. See?
Because when's the last time he was in a cinematic movie was in 2000, right?
Right. In
99, 2000.
The crazy part, though, also, is I think they were worried that people would get him confused with, Savage Opress, which I think is, his brother.
I guess.
And the wild part about this is that this takes place after Clone Wars. Yep. And during the first and second seasons of Rebels.
Yeah. So the thing is, you know what his outcome is going to be. Yeah. You know what's going to happen.
So people that have seen that show shouldn't have been as shook as a guy like myself who was say, what?
Yeah. But even though it's apparently that was a last minute decision by Ron Howard to have him in there. It wasn't part of the plans. They were just kind of... they were just
it was necessary.
Yeah, they were just throwing ideas out there, and it's why not it be Darth Maul, and it's like, okay, sure.
Oh, okay, sure.
Because like anyone else, it wouldn't really have been a surprise, and I feel like a movie like that, sure, can use as a surprise. And there's a lot, a lot they can lead up to, except for the fact that they, we kind of, even though it's all pretty much a prequel, and even to the animated series, that you kind of know what's going to happen to Darth Maul. He's, spoilers, he fucking dies, like, before all that stuff. Because he doesn't show up in 4 or 5 or 6, or 7 or 8.
Yeah, I mean,
definitely not 9.
I think it would be, if it were me, I think it would be smart that if they are doing that Ben Kenobi movie, that they cross paths again. Because by that time, Darth Maul's alive because of his hatred, of being cut in fucking half by Obi-Wan. So I think having Obi-Wan around that time period.
Well, yeah, it's like because they have plans to do like 2 more solo movies, which I don't think is wise. They don't need to do that.
They sure
especially since number 1, people have Star Wars fatigue. Number 2. Like, this movie did not do great financially, and that was because they shot themselves in the foot by firing, what's their faces? The guys who directed the Lego movie. They fired them because the movie was too funny and too entertaining, probably. So they had to pull the plug on that and make a movie that was so expensive, but didn't look as expensive as it did because they had to pretty much film a new movie. So they had to start from scratch, because I think it was almost like 70%-ish done. I could be wrong, but I know a good amount of it was done, and they had to redo a bunch of that stuff. And credit to Ron Howard for making the movie that he did. And
I heard that the guy that played Omar was supposed to be Paul Bettany's role, but then Omar couldn't do the reshoot, so they had to change
that was what happened.
Guy.
They had to change the guy, and that's why all his stuff just takes place in that one room.
Yeah.
Which I love Paul Bettany, like, in anything.
Yeah, that role was awesome. Like, he played that role awesome. What is that?
It's one of those things.
You got a job to do, cat. Kill the 8-legged beasts.
Yeah.
Now it's in my toy cupboard. Yeah. All right, whatever. But yeah, like, I thought that movie was a good time. God, my cat is dumb. Clearing the Kessel Run was fucking insane.
It was fun.
Yeah. That was
I like
crazy.
how they finally cleared up, and I was like, why does the Millennium Falcon look like that? And it looks so complete. And then it didn't when they that whole spot was supposed to be for a what is it? An escape capsule. That's what that belonged there. It's like, so they never decided to put another escape capsule. Like, they didn't need, and I've heard complaints saying like they didn't need to eliminate that right away.
No.
Like, if they're gonna do 2 other movies that apparently took place before, like, episode 4.
Well, you know how it is. The long
they
term,
had to cram every single thing that we know.
Long term is always hazy in the realm of film.
Because, like, we have 2 other movies that you're gonna tell after this before episode 4. It's like, yeah, I get the only thing that you can do with those other 2 movies is establish Han Solo as not wanting to be a hero, or not being a hero, to being a little bit more of a scoundrel.
Yeah.
And because, like, that's the thing about Han. He's like, he's not supposed to be the good guy. He's not known as a good guy. Like, he just happens to be a good guy depending on the situation. But like, he's not like, yeah, I'm trying to help. Like, it just seemed very uncharacteristic. And I think what they would do with the other 2 movies is to build on why he ends up becoming a scoundrel.
Yeah.
And why he ends up being, like, just more money hungry and just kind of a little more soulless, and he's only loyal to his Chewie. That's about it.
The way him and Chewie met was probably one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, and I
thought that was great.
I love the build of their relationship and of them as friends. Like, you did believe it as a friendship that was building. People talking about, like, the whole life debt and thing, because it was in novelized or in a comic book a lot different than what they did in the movie. So people always trying to compare the novels or the comic books, or mainly the novels, trying to compare the novelizations to what they try to give us on screen, and it never matches up. They always try to do something different because people making the movies they're not the ones writing the books, and probably didn't even read them maybe. But no, I thought their relationship building in the movie was really, really fun, and seeing, like, kind of the kid in Han Solo, like, like I said last time, it's like he wasn't him trying to do an impersonation, and that's not what we needed. He just like was a young Han Solo and playing it, and you believed this was a kid.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I just had a good time.
Yeah, and I totally agree that it's better than those movies, especially after rewatching like Episode 8. And it's like, yeah, they're kind of tough to sit. Other than the nostalgic factor, it's like getting to see Han Solo again and getting to see Luke Skywalker and all that. It's like, yeah. Other than that, it's like I'm not really into it. Like I kind of like Poe Dameron. I would like to dig into him more as a character, except for what they did with him in Episode 4, and just kind of made him a bumbling idiot, or just a hothead. But no, like everything else, like I just can't really get behind. I don't love everything, but these side stories with characters that we kind of know already, like, and it's like really trying to make the universe a little bit smaller, where it's like, or not smaller, kind of make it bigger. I mean, so you have all these little side stories that are happening in different parts of the galaxy, and not everything just kind of is related to each other. So when you do that, that's where it kind of crumbles on itself. It's like, oh, everybody's pretty much in the same small town. Everyone goes to the same freaking bar. Everyone, does everything together. They have a book club and all this shit. It's like, no. Yeah.
So, moving on to a movie of equal greatness, you guys would be happy to know that I finally watched the classic Baywatch film that came out like a year ago. That movie is funny. Yeah. Funnier than people give it credit for. And Zac Efron is on steroids.
Of course.
Let's see. And that's my closing statement on that movie.
Yeah, I watched that again because it was on Hulu, and I think I just threw it on, and I was like, God, this movie is entertaining. It's stupid, it's entertaining. But it's funny. But it's one of those, like, it's stupid. You never willingly want to watch it, but if you sit there and
if the motherfucker's on, I'm gonna just let it run.
Yeah, you're just gonna watch it. So it's pretty good.
So I saw. I don't know if I ever talked about the underwhelming first Predator trailer. Cause
I don't think you did.
Yeah, it's underwhelming, and I love Predator.
Yeah.
However, the second trailer came out, and it's way better, and it's shorter. It's only a minute long.
No, I didn't get to watch the trailer, but only thing I saw was an image of a jacked up
Predator. Now, the Berserker Predator from the movie Predators is one of my favorite designs. That motherfucker's legit. He's fucking sweet. And that one was already twice as big as the regular Predators. Well, there's another one, and he is big as shit. And I am very excited to see where this is going. But that trailer looks great. Also, coupled with that, I saw the new Halloween trailer for that fucking movie. Jamie Lee Curtis is still in it.
Yeah, I have an issue with this whole thing. Like, it looks, as a movie itself, if you forget about the other movies that existed after 1 and 2, then this looks great. But it's pretty much just a movie trying to say, hey, forget those.
Yeah, which a lot of movies are trying to do with.
Yeah, well, it's like you can't do that.
It's like the new Predator movie, I think, is no-selling all the other shit other than Predator 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But the funny part about this Halloween trailer is every time I watched it twice, and both times I was like, are we sure Jamie Lee Curtis isn't the villain? Because she's like, I'm going to find him. I know he's going to escape. I'm going to shoot him. And the whole time she's like, I got this gun. I'm going to kill him.
40 years and she's never tried to just...
and she's like...
He's standing in the middle of an open fucking yard.
Well, I'm just saying, she's like, I've just been waiting this whole time to see him leave so I can fucking kill him. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him. Hey, is that a window with his face? Shot it. Like... I'm like, yo, is this movie... We sure this movie isn't just about a grandma with PTSD who wants to shoot everything that reminds her of fucking Mike Myers? Like, it's just... I don't know, man. Yeah, I'd be more terrified of her walking around with that shaky trigger finger, putting bullet holes in everything she sees. That shit was weird. So, looking forward to that. Also looking forward to that new Jason Statham movie, Meg. It's about a giant shark.
Okay, so
fuck yeah, it's gonna be cool.
So one thing about me, I am scared shitless of open water.
I mean, as you should be, because there's no more terrifying thing on the planet
than the fucking deep blue sea
than
itself.
the deep ocean. Yes.
But also I am scared shitless of fish. Like fish freak me out.
Really?
Yes, that's one of my ultimate fears is fish.
Fish?
I hate fish.
You didn't even say sharks. You didn't say whale. You said
fish.
motherfucking fish.
It's like, do not put a fucking goldfish in front of me because I will punch it in the fucking face. And I used to run the fucking...
Everything about you makes no sense. Everything about you. What the fuck? I'm jacked. I make tights. I like wrestling. I make clothes for toys. And I hate fish. Hate fish. Oh, wow. I want to punch a fish if it's next to me. God damn.
No, I do not like fish. They creep me out.
Okay.
I've never been a fan of, like, the taste of fish either.
Sure.
But no, like,
great.
But, like, this is kind of, like, a big nightmare for me with the idea of, like, a giant... Like, that last bit, which most likely is not a scene in the movie. It's just there for promotional purposes where you see the shark... Like
above?
No, you see it in the water and you just see a boat, but it's the image from
the
above
shot.
But you see a shark getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I'm like, that creeps me the fuck out.
Nope.
No thanks.
Yeah.
And it's like, I want to see this because this freaks me out.
I like the beginning where it just put its mouth around that big glass dome.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was cool. But yeah, that movie looks like it's like...
And it's a Jason Statham movie.
And it's there to just tickle the Chinese. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a Chinese production company and there's Chinese actors in it. And it's just like, Chinese like big old monsters.
Yeah.
So
he's biting the walls of Atlantis.
Yeah.
Jason Statham can't really be Jason Statham, but he's going to be Jason Statham.
Oh, he's just going to be Jason Statham anyways.
Yeah.
You know, they loved him since The Transporter, so they're going to keep putting him in movies.
Yeah.
And then I'd like to segue into a little... I like to call it an unexpected social experiment. Where I have a really good friend of mine, and she has never seen any of the Marvel Cinematic movies except for the first Thor. And
I think out of all of them, that is a very interesting movie to be the only one that she's seen.
And don't get me wrong, I still think that movie's underrated. Like, I really like the first
that
one.
movie too.
So the interesting part is that, you know, she's only seen that one, but she wants to see Infinity War, and I love Infinity War. And I told her she could not see the film unless I was there, and she has seen the movies that precede it. You know, so I want her to be able to know that this was 10 years in the making. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting seeing Casual, because she's not into comics at all, but she is an artist and she appreciates, you know, what they're about. So getting a Casual's idea of these films is great because, you know, plus I get to go back and watch the ones that I've only seen like once or twice of years ago. Like, I've only seen Iron Man 1 once up until we watched this again. And back then, I still thought Iron Man 1 was like one of the strongest films in the franchise, if not the. So, watched Iron Man 1 again. It was awesome. Like, I'm like, all right, cool. Skipped Iron Man 2 for obvious reasons. Skipped the Hulk for obvious reasons. I made her watch Captain America: The First Avenger.
In that marathon that they did that same thing. They skipped a few movies.
Oh, did they?
They didn't show the ones that just don't include all the Avengers. They didn't really, or at least most of the Avengers, they didn't really show.
And I believe that. So I made sure we didn't watch that Hulk movie because it was boring. Yeah. Didn't watch Iron Man 2.
Did you watch 3?
No, okay. We didn't even need to watch because you
don't need 3 either.
Yeah, the only thing she needed to know was that Tony could automate the suits himself.
Yeah,
and that all gets explained in Age of Ultron anyway.
Yeah, Age of Ultron, if anything, contradicts whatever happens in 3.
Yeah, so it's just that.
Like 3 is just an unnecessary movie.
Exactly. But made her watch Captain America: The First Avenger, and then we watched Iron Man 1. Then we just needed to segue right into the Avengers because that pretty much explains everything. Yeah. Black Widow just shows up. She didn't need to watch Iron Man 2 for it, honestly. Yeah. It's just Black Widow's Black Widow. So she shows up and she's like, oh, okay, I get it. And she knows how the
Russian dude just tells you anyway.
Yeah,
like
right.
The only
exactly.
time she's ever
right, yeah, when it opens up. And then
he just calls her Black Widow.
And then
she looks fantastic.
Fantastic. And then she knows what the Hulk is.
Yeah,
she knows. She knows who he is. She knows who Bruce Banner is. She gets it. It's cool. We're good. So, and since she'd already seen Thor, she knows about Loki and Thor. So we got that out of the way. Watched Age of Ultron. Just making the rounds. Then we watched my favorite one, which was The Winter Soldier.
Those are ones you're excited for. It's like I get to watch.
Yeah, I get to watch them
for
again.
The 100th. And 57th time.
So and then the cheap theater was playing Black Panther near her neighborhood at a theater. I know it's for rent, but it's like $4 to see a movie there.
See it if there's opportunity to see a good movie on a big screen.
Exactly.
Why the hell not?
That's what we did. So we're all caught up, and I skipped Ant-Man because what the fuck? I don't need Ant-Man.
You don't need it.
So we got to. We're to this point now where the only things we need to watch, because we just finished the Guardians Volume 2, is Spider-Man and Thor Ragnarok. And I really like Spider-Man. And Thor Ragnarok I'm probably going to be on my phone. So, either way, we got those two movies, and then I can watch
I'll bring
Infinity
the popcorn.
War.
I'll watch it. I really dig Thor Ragnarok.
I know you do. I mean, everybody loves the SNL, so why not add it with superheroes? Yeah. But, seeing her reaction, and, I'm asking her, I'm like, okay, so now that we're to where we are, what were your favorite movies so far? And she, hits it right on the head. It's exactly how I feel. Mm-hmm. I forgot in ranking, but Winter Soldier by far is my favorite. Then Iron Man 1. So she was on both there. And then the Avengers, the first Avengers film. And then I think Black Panther in that order.
Okay.
So she's doing about as good as I expected. I was very surprised.
Yeah.
But now I can't wait to see the tears fall when we get to that inevitable Infinity War Part 2, or the first part, and then
is she an emotional type?
Well, the only time it hit her, I think. Oh no, there's 2 times. So when Peggy died, of old age, and then was that Civil War? Or,
no, Civil War.
It was Civil War. No, so it's not her death that did it. It was the promo she cut. So that was Winter Soldier.
Yeah, Winter Soldier.
When she had Alzheimer's, she was in the bed. So that hit her. And then the end of Guardians Volume 2. That hit her. Because of Yondu and then his dad and then,
Dad of the Year.
Yeah. But either way, I just thought that was... It's just entertaining watching casuals watch the shit for the first time and not... having their fanboyism overwhelm them like mine did for a couple of times. So
I just when it comes to you and you kind of having a person watch it in that type of way, what comes to mind is just you in a it kind of makes you think of True Lies. So when I say
remake that movie, God.
So
please.
when I think of True, what I mean by that is a scene when Jamie Lee Curtis is being told to dance in front of what turns out to be her husband, but she has no idea. But he's sitting in a chair and just under a dark shadow. I see that being you, just you're not even watching the television, you're just watching her watch the movie. But that always comes to mind whenever anyone says I need to have somebody watch this stuff. Because you pretty much just that's what it felt like when you had me watch The Room. For the first time. You demanded that
you need
be
that
present
experience.
And you do commentary.
You need that experience. Otherwise, it just doesn't fucking work.
It's just another bad movie.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm glad.
Because The Room is not just a movie; it's an experience.
I love it. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that we got to do that together.
Yeah. And Erica loves it because of that. So.
And then and it just makes the disaster artist so good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So fuck.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah.
So
which I've done a similar kind of experiment. Well, not so much it was an experiment, but like I did that with Erica with the Star Wars movies.
Sure.
Where we started. Like she was curious about them. She never watched them all, so we started watching from 4, 5, and 6, and then we watched episode 1, 2, and 3. And then when I woke up after those 3 movies, I asked her what she thought, and she likes Star Wars movies. She usually just kind of gets into stuff. Like she's just always entertained by almost anything for the most part, but it's kind of hard to gauge sometimes what certain people like. But,
I agree.
But no, yeah, I felt like I did something similar with my own girlfriend there with the Star Wars movies. But I did watch something on Netflix because I haven't really been looking into or been out watching a lot of different stuff. But and it's rare that I just actually choose something on Netflix to watch, as we typically just kind of scroll
instead
through.
of just letting it rip.
Yeah, we just scroll through and just spend 2 hours trying to look for something and decide Netflix doesn't have anything when really it's just the whole there's too many options and we can't choose. But I watched this. Funko, pretty much the Funko Pop company that it was a documentary for that. I forgot what the name of it was, but the cover it just has like Kevin Smith on it, even though he's barely in it. But no, it's just a really good documentary of like how Funko began. I honestly had no idea how long Funko's been around.
A long ass time.
Yeah, that it started with like just the bobbleheads of just like little pretty much like cereal and Saturday morning cartoon characters and stuff or mascots, and it is interesting to see like how it evolved and like how it evolved into what it is now because it ended up getting bought out by someone else, and he had the imagination to try and evolve it and try and make it try and do more with it. Yeah. And so it was very interesting, especially seeing like behind the scenes like the personalities and what inspires the people who work within the company, and it seems like a generally fun company to work for, and so it's definitely interesting to see. They dive into some fans, and Walter Jones is in there. Walter Jones, the Black Ranger, famously from back in the day, and Jason David Frank is on there to get a few celebrities to kind of talk about their own stuff, and Lou Ferrigno's in there as well, and they talk about like just how the obsession of the Funko Pops and toys and
it's wild.
Yeah, and how what they're worth and what they end up becoming, how they end up becoming so worthwhile and stuff, but also following these fans, and then like how they get obsessed with like the Funkos, but how they get obsessed with the pop culture that they're into, and then seeing them actually meet. Shout
out to the Toy Posse for having severe emotional attachment issues to toys and pop culture. Shout out to y'all.
Yeah, and they even talked.
Y'all still ain't got my Thanos from the Disney store, even though I asked y'all like 3 times. Nobody got back to me either. One thing. That's all I asked for. One thing. I bought a shirt. I contribute. Nobody give me updates on a toy I've wanted this long. No, I don't want no Marvel Legends. I never asked. Y'all come to my house, I give you good deals, and y'all can't even give me a $20 toy. Man, you can't even reserve it. Fuck.
Yeah, I feel like I came through for you even more, even though I didn't find it.
Yeah.
Actually there.
Yeah.
But no, I
mean, shout out to y'all. You're cool, but y'all make me mad sometimes.
Yeah, like everyone's like very, like, majority of them are sad because they can't get their hands on the new Turtle set.
Holy shit! You see that?
Yeah.
Man, alright. I'd like to apologize first and foremost to all of you that didn't get the Turtle set. I want you all still here with us on the plane of the living, because according to some of y'all's reaction, I think you were writing your wills and jumping off bridges, or actually trying to live in sewers to become turtles after that shit. Because, man, even NECA was like, okay, guys, we got another round of pre-orders coming up. Just make sure you sign up. No, you can't get 100 per person. You can either get this and this, or this or this.
It's funny how it's like the Ninja Turtles from 90 is the biggest fucking toy right now.
Well, it's funny because they released them as quarter scales, but they never came out with them as 7 inches. Mm-hmm. And now you can get them.
That's what they are. They're 7 inches.
They're all scale with everything else now.
Oh, Jesus.
See?
Now I'm sad.
And now they come with, and then you could buy the diorama.
I was very curious about it, and I was like trying to see. I was like, okay, how much are these worth? And I'm trying to see if like it happens to be on Amazon. I really feel like a Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jingle All the Way kind of situation was like, how hard could it be?
To find?
And I was like, no, you're not gonna find it.
It's a wrap for you.
Like I think we have to have a Mission Impossible situation and break into Zack Ryder's house. And so he was in that documentary too, showing like his.
Oh, was he?
Like he has his his cases and stuff, but he has like his retro like old Ghostbusters pack from when he was a kid. But then he had one that he had commissioned like for cosplay purposes. But like he has one that he just has there and it lights up and all that stuff.
Right.
But he has like his Ninja Turtles back there, and he has his Funko Pops and action figures and all that. So it was like really cool to see there, but I think we need to break into his home and steal those turtles and do a timeshare on some toy timeshare hashtag.
Hashtag toy timeshare. Well, I'm checking on eBay right now the 90s NECA TMNT set, and yeah, they're $300.
Someday.
Good job.
I know.
Fucking eBay.
Because I know fucking kid me would like die to have that because I always wanted the perfect Ninja Turtles like set from that movie.
Yep, and that's the 90s set.
Like when you thought like those toys that they came out with a few years back, which I still have a couple of. I actually forgot I had them because they were just in a box, but they're on my shelf that's like by my desk, and I have like the cartoon ones, like when they released them, like those 7-inch ones.
Yeah.
So I have like Raphael and Leonardo, and then I bought a couple of the movie ones. But I ended up selling them. But when those movie ones came out, like I thought like, oh man, these are perfect, these are awesome. And then NECA started coming out with those other ones.
And then you're like, well, what the fuck is the point?
How do I get my hands on these? But like those bigger ones are just like almost like
I can't get into the quarter scale stuff, man.
Yeah.
Like unless it's literally a toy that they've never made before in a different scale.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna touch it.
It's just huge.
So yeah, I'm glad that segued from Funko to figures. Yeah. That was a good time.
Yeah, definitely a good documentary to check out. Like with the toys that made us. Like I watched that with a couple of those. Not every single one really. Like they're probably worth watching, but it's like I don't really care about like Star Trek.
I haven't even watched it yet, and it's hard because. Really, the
Lego one is really interesting.
Oh, and I'm sure.
Yeah,
that would be a good one. I feel like, but the point of that show, right? I feel like it's the toys that made us, right? So if the documentary is about a toy that didn't make me, I'm not gonna have as much.
Which I feel about most of them. It's like, well, none of these really made me. Like I didn't grow up with Lego.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Lego's fucking expensive.
But
so I buy it till I was an adult.
But I am definitely aware. I'm more on board with the Lego stuff than I would be
apparently
old Funko stuff.
Apparently, the 3rd season's supposed to have maybe Power Rangers. I heard that it was filmed.
That's a good idea.
It's like. Yeah, that's the one I'm probably going to watch so many times.
Clearly. Oh, shout out to the figure arts that are starting to do the unmasked guys now.
I guess, yeah.
Granted, the
prototypes don't look the greatest.
No, I mean, the human faces look like shit, but I don't care. It's just the fact that they exist.
Yeah.
And they'll probably, skyrocket in price.
It's like when it's like, I kind of would prefer that they dive into Zeo.
I think they might. You saw the Power Ranger Cross Street Fighter mobile game, right?
Oh yeah, I saw that. I think that's.
And they had
because I have the game on my phone. I just don't play games on my phone.
They had the black and gold Ranger with the Kuma and shit. And I was like, what? So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah, so I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
That wraps it up on the entertainment side for me.
Yeah, well, we have E3 going on right now, but really...
well, yeah.
There's not a whole lot going on.
I want to wait till all of it's done.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So wait until a couple weeks from now.
We've had some, they've done some Devil May Cry stuff and some, Monster Hunter stuff, Final Fantasy. Square Enix's presentation was today. there's some cool stuff, but I think to fill a segment, I think it's best if we wait. Yeah. And I think the last day is tomorrow, right?
Probably.
I think it's tomorrow. So either way,
I wanted to kind of sit through everything, but I keep forgetting to put it on just because I keep working on stuff.
I mean, it's hard because sometimes like some of those game makers and their presentations are so mundane.
It's like sometimes they come like you see like they're feigning enthusiasm.
What's up, guys?
It's like, oh my god, that game that no one's gonna buy. It looks so amazing, and I can't wait to play it.
Or at least I won't buy, and everybody's going to say it's amazing, and I'm still not going to play it.
Yeah.
But at least we can knock them out in one fell swoop. I'd figure next cast.
Next time.
So you made your MAW debut, or is this?
No, this is not my debut. This is my third time.
Third time,
yeah.
Okay.
My first time was at the American Indian Center with Ryan Cruz in 2 out of 3 falls.
Nice.
My second time was with Ryan fighting again in a submission match.
Nice. Okay.
This time was against Chainsaw King, who I've never faced off with before, and we had a pretty exciting match. I got it screwed over at the end by one of his little minions, if he wants to call him that, or if I want to call him that, and got
Saiyaman?
I guess.
One of his Saiyaman?
His Cyberman.
His Cyberman.
And I kicked him out of the way, but I still got distracted enough to get the loss on that. But
God,
Ryan...
Wow, you're such an idiot.
Yeah, I know. And Ryan Cruz came out and antagonized me, so him and I started... I attacked him as he was going back, and we had pretty much a big brawl, which may lead into something gimmicked later on in the future for MAW. We'll see what goes on there. So stay tuned for Midwest All-Star Wrestling. See what Ryan Cruz and I are doing. Just keep up on the social medias. But with wrestling, we also have had... that's really what's going on with me. I have I know next weekend I have 3 shows. I have a 3-shot. Where Friday, Saturday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which is kind of a big deal because I never have that many shows in a row. As much as I want to wrestle often, it is just so much like going. There's just so much talent out here. Like you can't get everyone on a card. So
that's true.
Yeah. So especially when you got new guys wrestling for cheaper. So but anyway. Yeah, I want to wrestle as much as possible, and it'd be cool to travel, but I guess I don't necessarily want to travel too far. It definitely has to be worth it. If I travel too far, I'm going to get paid very little, but that's neither here nor there.
You know how this shit goes.
Yeah. But no, we had the Dominion event in Japan this past weekend. You got to watch the entirety with your friends, or not the entirety, but a good majority of it.
Yeah, I'd say the main show we watched.
Okay.
But actually before I get into Dominion,
the grand old days.
I do want to talk about how. So over here in St. Paul, we have a legendary day we call Grand Old Days, where they just kind of block off all of Grand Avenue, and then it just turns
very inconvenient for a lot of people.
Yeah, but nobody should be driving down Grand anyway. It's already inconvenient.
Yeah, it is.
So they bring out a lot of food trucks. There's fun activities. They open up a beer garden, lots of live music, and this year. We had shout outs to First Wrestling. That was popping off there at Grand Old Days. It was a good time. Got to see a lot of guys I haven't seen in a long time. I'm surprised they recognized me now that I look like I'm in my mid-40s and I'm not even 35 yet, so that's good. But I ran into Ryan Cruz. Got to talk to him for a little bit, or at least shoot the shit. Ran into Darren Corbin, who's still great. Ran into the King of Throwdown, Venom, who's now a cop. I don't know his gimmick now. It's strange. I got to see Rob James again. Got to see women wrestle in the Sun, and then not Sun, and then Sun, and then not Sun. And then I was definitely 3 sheets to the wind most of the time. So I was drunk, having a great bang-up all time. I'll tell you what. So if any of you guys that are listening now, I'm sure you remember me there, message me. Say something on my Instagram. I'll give you a high five. It was a really good time. Got to run into a lot of friends there. Yeah, Wayne who takes the wrestling photos that everybody knows. It's been a long time. I'm glad I went down there to see everybody. They were wrestling for 4 hours, so they were suffocating the second they'd take bumps. It was really fun to watch, and also you could tell some of them were sunburnt, and then some of them that like to wear face paint and body paint as gimmicks. That clearly went out the window after their first match, and they just started coming out looking like regular dudes. Shout out to that one wrestler that said my jacket looked like it was from a discount thrift store. I still see you in your ICP tattoo, so you ain't shit. So shout out to you. I forgot his name, but yeah, he was really funny. But yeah, man, that was a good ass time. I got to see Eric Cannon work, skinny Eric Cannon. He used to always be a dick, but he was always cool to me. So it was cool seeing him be a dick and cool to me all at the same time while he was wrestling again. High five to that guy. And plus him and Ryan wrestled, so it was good, but it wasn't like a clinic that lasted forever. So
they're not gonna put all that effort in for
not on hour 4 especially.
Yeah.
What
was the deal with this?
So they had to. I think the idea is that they had to fill up X amount of time. Mm-hmm. And, 4 hours of wrestling is a lot to do. And I think with, like, the 10 guys they had or 12 guys that they had wrestling.
It seemed like just from...
It was just...
I didn't go...
It was a bunch of tag matches, alternating single matches, you know what I mean? Like, but they did pretty good. Thunder Frog got to entertain people a lot, so... it was a good time. It was a really good time. Now from that, I can talk about the Dominion pay-per-view of New Japan... on New Japan World. So, New Japan Pro Wrestling is something that I don't subscribe to, but all my friends do, so I get the lowdown every time I go over their house or they come over here and hang out. And Dominion was no exception, except this time we all got together. It had come out on Saturday, but we had played it on Sunday and tried to stay spoiler-free. The only thing that got spoiled for us was the CM Punk fight, which had an obvious outcome. Shout outs to Phil Brooks.
We should talk about that.
Just a little bit. I mean, really, he just got, I say this about the CM Punk fight. Especially being a guy who fought for about a year myself. Just in smokers and trained MMA and and then going to training 4 to 5 nights a week, cutting weight. I can feel that I have a pretty good grasp on the fight game, especially when I was watching it for years. They signed CM Punk because he is a name and he has something behind him. Brock Lesnar was an athlete first and a wrestler second. CM Punk was a wrestler first and an athlete second. So CM Punk, being in his late 30s, signed up to fight under the UFC in his first fight against a kid who was a kid but had an animal instinct and was ready to be in the UFC. That's what the kid trains for. So when you get a guy who's in his mid-30s especially, and you signed him to combat sports, he's already signing up at a disadvantage. He's in his mid-30s. He hasn't done MMA fights before. So, really now you're just working with a liability that has a name attached. Mm-hmm. So, now he got his butt whooped in the first fight, right? But people showed respect because he got off his ass and did what he had to do. Second fight comes around. He gets off his ass and he does what he needs to do. But then again, he once again falls short. Now he's 39. There is no future in MMA for him. No. It's a bad decision.
White said it himself. That
he needs to stop. He needs to stop, and it's good. I also like how he said about his opponent that as far as he's concerned, that guy didn't win either because he's a piece of shit. It's because he was a garbage bag. Yeah. But that being said, any damage you take in your mid-30s is real damage. That's damage that you could potentially see for life. Your body becomes more frail and things become more serious. So now, pro wrestling is a sports entertainment product that is focused on giving entertainment for entertainment's sake, but also trying to protect yourself to create longevity in your career. Guys like Mark Coleman and Randy Couture who get in there when they were in their 40s, knowing it was a bad idea, still did it for the payday because that's their lineage and they're used to fighting. Someone like CM Punk isn't, fighting isn't in his DNA. So it's just a disadvantage once he fights somebody that's their job.
Like, he's not even insanely athletic
either. Not at all.
Like, even in wrestling, he was good at doing what he did, and I think his personality is what got him really far.
Exactly. And to tell you, but that's, to tell you the honest to God truth, it's what got him in the UFC. Mm-hmm. He's a good talker, he's a hard worker, and he's a personality. And he was worldly popular during his time in the WWE. So I think Dana signed him at enough money to where he'd have been stupid to say no. So he took it. And then he was like, I can do this one more time. And Dana was like, all right, kid, you got one more shot. And he couldn't cut it. So, I saw him getting his ass whooped. That was obvious. But, it happens in the fight game. He's too old for it, but he can say he's done it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all I can say.
It's like, just from the bit, because I pretty much just watched clips on Instagram, because that's
all. Yeah, really.
Like, for me, it's like,
it went 3 rounds, but the gist of it.
Yeah, apparently it was like one of the worst fights that's ever been on UFC. It has no business being on the main card, but I think Dana pushed it to be on the main card.
And Dana, he said, I wish I would have put that that fight on Fight Pass.
Yeah.
He's like, I wish it wasn't on the card.
Yeah, and just what I saw from CM Punk, and maybe I saw clips from when he was already winded, but
he was done after the first round.
Yeah, it's like a lot of his stuff just it looked like a sad, just one of those sad like reality celebrity TV shows where it's like let's throw him into UFC. Again, 2 celebrities against each other, like Z-list celebrities against each other, and see how they do. Exactly. Because a lot of his stuff looked very sloppy and all that. It's like he should have known better to fucking cut his hair so it's not in his fucking eyes.
Yeah, and I didn't get that either. Yeah. I was so confused. I was like, dude, why did you shave your head? Yeah. You've done this before.
Yeah.
Like, that was already a telltale sign to me that you kind of don't know what you're doing. Yeah. Like, no offense, man. It's just, there are things in like the way he was throwing punches, and he was off kilter. He didn't have a really good base. He just went in.
He was tossing punches.
Yeah, he was tossing punches. Spent all his energy trying to take him down, and he just expunged himself.
Yeah.
But
his kicks like bug the hell out of me.
Oh, well, yeah, they should, because they're not good.
He looks like he's trying to just kick a freaking like a floaty in the air or something like that.
Yeah,
they weren't like it wasn't like a straight actual kick. It's like you're only gonna hurt yourself if you actually hit him with it.
Yeah, exactly, and that's something.
It's like I don't do MMA, but I've done martial arts when I was a kid, and I watch a lot of martial arts movies, and I know what fucking strikes should look like.
Well, I don't know. That's hard to say. No. It's just what kick hurts yourself, and what kick can cause damage. And I think and even in wrestling, that
sweat off his foot. That's
even
what it looked like.
In wrestling, that. Yeah. Like if you hit a guy and the guy you did it stiff, or you did it light. It's things like that. And everything that CM Punk did looked like he was either going to hurt himself or, he was going to whiff and then lose the fight.
Yeah.
But back to Dominion. So I'm not going to go over... I'm just going to go over the obvious on this card. The Bucks match was really good, clearly. And then...
Like, they're so good, I'm over it.
It's just like when you sign up for a Young Bucks tag match, that's exactly what you got. There was nothing like psychotic about this one, other than they did really good leg work, so they couldn't do their specific finish, so they had to go to a different one, which was good selling. And then there was the Jericho winning their Intercontinental title away from Naito, which nobody saw coming because everybody thought Jericho was going to do a one and done.
Yeah.
But to then just win the title off of Naito, nobody saw coming. Chris Jericho is just a fucking crazy human being in New Japan, that's his gimmick, and it's working out. He's just saying, fuck you, eat shit, I'm going to take a shit with this belt, I'm going to sing with this belt. That. You know, he's like, it's I got
tickets awesome. To Fozzy. I better fucking see that belt.
Yeah, dude, I bet you'll see that belt. So I'm really excited.
I'm going to see it when it's at First Ave. So.
I'm really excited for that. So there's that. And the match was just like gritty, gross, and great. You know, it's exactly what it needed to be. It was memorable. And then we had what I'm gonna say it's probably the most insane match I've ever seen. Was, you know, Kenny Okada. And this one was a 2 out of 3 falls, no time limit. But what they did that I love so much is having a 2-minute buffer between falls. It's so good because then they had cornermen, guys trying to get them back up, legitimizing the length of the match, and then just having things be more impactful. They killed each other in and out, tons of stiff strikes, lots of stiff strikes, lots of back and forth, you know, strong style stuff. But there was the spot that meant the most to me in that whole match. Even though he couldn't hit the one-winged angel for like, I'm going to go ahead and say 50 minutes. He's tried to hit that move damn near the whole match and he couldn't hit it until like the last 15. The wildest part is that people don't kick out of the Rainmaker, right? Which is the unwind short arm lariat that's Okada's finish. And the last time they wrestled, or like the time limit the time limit draw that they had, he reeled back and he had Kenny in it, and Kenny fell and fainted before the move connected. So he bumped, you know, by missing his own finish. This time it was awesome because he finally got him in the Rainmaker. Everybody's freaking out. He tombstoned him. He picked him up. It's fucking, it's fucking curses, right? They're just dead tired. He picks him up, wheels him out, and does it. And as soon as he hits Kenny, his arm just went poop because he couldn't hit he was so weak that Kenny didn't even bump. He just stood up and looked at him because the Rainmaker finish was like he was too gassed. Yeah. So that's when
that's what they were putting over.
And it was so awesome because you were like, this is fucking it. That's it. It's been building to this. He hit it and it was just like boop. And he couldn't do shit with it. It's like it all built up to that one finish and everybody thought it was over, and then nope. The move was just pathetic. So then after that Kenny went in, and that's when the back and forth happened. And then eventually Kenny just pulled it out with the one-winged angel, killed the boy, and got the 3. And it was insane, man. Like, Kenny now is on top of the world. For being a 72-minute match or whatever, it was bonkers. Yeah. And now he's running a show for Evo, if I'm not mistaken, the fighting game tournament. And, you know... And he was in the Cody Unveil video for Street Fighter V, where he was playing Cody. So it's awesome now that he's showing the FGC, the fighting game community, like tons of respect. He's always showed respect for Capcom and Street Fighter. Bullet Club was in Tekken 3 with their merchandise. So now and King even had Okada's gear and the Rainmaker finish as a move if you wanted it. So it was like, now if you're into Japanese wrestling, or if you weren't and you watch that, you're in it now. So welcome to the fold, because I think now that company is now forefronted by Kenny, who is now their world champion. So he's the only Grand Slam champion ever in New Japan.
Wow.
So that's like, it's huge. Yeah. So now 2 Canadians run that company.
Yeah.
And Jericho and fucking Kenny Omega. So yeah, that's my wrestling wrap up. Definitely watch Dominion if you haven't seen it. Definitely watch Craven Knight if you haven't seen him. Definitely collect Funko Pops if you have diarrhea. Definitely pick up the Disney store exclusive Thanos figure and mail it to me because it's what I need.
Send it to Shawn. He needs it.
Definitely get your Batman capes from Craven Knight because he loves to make them now.
I guess, yeah.
Definitely get your ring gear from Craven Knight, Break Knight props, and
before I go, friggin', not loving it anymore.
Yeah, get it while he's hot. Yeah, you know what I mean.
And I start living out my car because I don't know how I'm paying my bills.
Finally, and then definitely get your sketch and illustration commissions and logos from me. Just go ahead and hit me up, Shawn Slade, on the Instagram. You can DM me, send me nudes. It's fine. I mean, you got a wiener, whatever.
Yeah, you gotta show it to somebody.
You just gotta show it to somebody. I know you guys got chicks on speed dial, waiting to DP them. So just send them to me, and
Women are always just waiting for them dick pics.
Then I'll draw it, and then I'll post it on your wall, or I'll post it on your girl's wall. And, we'll all live happily.
Yeah. And I want to give a little shout out to RBR Weekly Wrestling Talk, a podcast that is the very first podcast I've ever had the pleasure of listening to. It's hosted by four wrestling fans. It's a podcast for wrestling fans, and it's very entertaining. It ends up going about 3-4 hours long sometimes. But I got to co-host not last week's episode, but the week prior, for being part of their Cinco de Hosto. I got to be their fifth host on the 5th week of May, and it was a lot of fun to be a part of it. I know I've done it a couple of times where I got to co-host on their podcast, where this was before I was even doing a podcast. So having the experience doing this podcast for you people has made me feel a lot more comfortable to be able to host with 4 other guys, which you try doing a podcast with guys that you're not looking at and trying to get a word in edgewise can be very tough. So I felt like I did pretty well that time. Nothing I feel I can listen back to, but I feel anyone else should be able to listen to it and have a good time. If you're a wrestling fan and you don't know what RBR Weekly Wrestling Talk is, go check it out. And that's it for me. If you want to follow the stuff that I'm doing, I'm at Break Knyte Creative or at Craven Knight on the social media, so you can check that stuff out and see what I got going on. You never know what creative projects I'm going to do unless it's wrestling gear, because that's the obvious. But check out Shawn Slade on social media, on the Instagram, and send him your nudes. He needs them. That's how he lives. Sorry, I just got a message from my computer telling me things. And thanks again. Stay creative. Peace, love, and chicken grease. We are out.
Deuces.